On DraftKings, I bought two packs. I bought the booster pack and the superstar pack, which I'm going to be opening live here for you on Fireside.
Created live on Fireside.
Welcome to Athletic Definition. I'm your host, Coach Ray Z, and today I'm going to be showing you how to play NFT Fantasy Football. And be sure to stick around to the very end because on DraftKings, I bought two packs. I bought the booster pack and the superstar pack, which I'm going to be opening live here for you on Fireside. I was hoping to have a different screen or another camera so that I could show you the opening as it's going on, but I'll work for that in the future. Before we get into it, I want to just talk a little bit about your options. I would say that the major betting platforms is BetMGM, FanDuel, DraftKings. As far as NFTs, I saw that FanDuel has NFT playoff features, but it seems like it's over, so I couldn't really get more information on it. As far as I know, I didn't even have a chance to check with BetMGM that they have any sort of NFT fantasy football options, so I'm not quite sure about them. That's something I'll look into and get back to you on that as well. DraftKings, they have their regular casino, they have their sports betting where it's legal, and then they have their fantasy football as well. From there, they came up with Rainmakers, and Rainmakers is their NFT way where you can select your players. Once you buy your players, it's basically you can get into any sort of tournament contest with NFT players, and that's what you use. And then you have a chance to win prizes. I really don't know what the prizes are or anything like that. Me, I worked in Las Vegas as a sports bookie, and then I've been playing fantasy football for over 20 years. So I'm a fan of football, and I just wanted to do this more for fun and for everyone to kind of get an idea of how it works to see if it's something you want to try. Now, one thing that I've been kind of looking around is the different websites from NFL All Day, which is there where you can buy their NFL moments. And I'm not quite sure at this time if you can buy an NFL moment and use any of that as far as for fantasy football with DraftKings. DraftKings did align themselves with the NFL Players Association, so they are licensed by them. Top Shots is something else that I was looking into. That's for the NBA. I believe that they're going to have some sort of tournament. I'm not quite sure yet. And then that Soar Rare, they seem to specialize in baseball. You can do fantasy with them right now. Also soccer. And then the last one, it says NBA, but I don't see any NBA so far on their website. One thing that I haven't really enjoyed too much of the whole signing up for DraftKings and looking into Top Shots is that they ask you for your ID. Since I worked at a casino in Vegas, and if I were to go to a casino in Vegas now, if I were to go and place a bet, say $20, they wouldn't ask me for my ID. I would just be able to place my bet and that's it. But for some reason, Top Shots and DraftKings, they follow the KYC, which is know your customer. So I also worked for the bank for 10 years. And when this started not too long ago, basically KYC means know your customer or know your client. It came up basically to track people to avoid money laundering. And this was all part of the Patriot Act. It has to do with that. I'm not quite sure if I really want to give my ID. What if I'm just a fan and I want to spend $10 on a basketball player card that I want or an NFL player card that I want? For me to have to show my ID for such a low end purchase, I don't know about that because it's supposed to be KYC for banking and now it's getting into everything else. And I understand some of these NFL moments or Top Shot moments, they go for thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you're going to be making those type of purchases, then that's when you need to, in my opinion, identify them. If not, I keep getting reminders all the time. We need to verify you. We need to verify you. I still haven't done it on Top Shots. I did it on DraftKings, but I would like to throw it back to the government and say, how about let's get KYG, which is know your government, because this is also that there's no money laundering. But back on September 10th, 2001, the defensive secretary, Donald Rumsfeld, he basically said that the United States lost $2.3 trillion. At my job, if I lost even $100, I would get fired. So they can lose all kinds of money, but there's no way for us to know really what happened to it. But if we bet $10 on Top Shots, then you have to have my driver's license. So that's something to consider as well. And then the other thing is, a lot of people are thinking NFT, NFT, NFT. It's an investment. I own this. I own this. So that's another thing I want to address too before you get into major purchases and any of these. Even if you're playing for fun, DraftKings, when you're buying something, you should be aware, since NFTs are so new, you should know that not all the rights to NFTs are the same. For example, if you buy a piece of NFT art versus a moment on NFL All Day or on DraftKings, they're not the same. There's 4 major types of licenses that you typically get. And Top Shots, DraftKings, even though I read their terms and conditions, I couldn't quite tell, but I believe it's the same one, which is personal use. It's the most common one. And then after that, you have a commercial license. With that one pretty much gives you permission to do whatever you want. T-shirts, make a cartoon, make a movie, do anything with that type of license. And then there's the limited commercial license, which, just for example, I buy an NFT and they're going to be like, well, the most you can profit is 100,000. Then after that, you have to read the terms and conditions. And then there's a Creative Commons license known as a CCO. And that one, it's a little bit more complicated. I'll let you look into it if you want, go down that rabbit hole. Before I continue, this is not financial advice or any legal advice. Reach out to a professional if you are looking for that. This is just me going to open up the packs that I bought on DraftKings. But I wanted to address that as well, because just with NFTs, really what NFT is what you're buying the right to the link that's pointing to that art. So for example, when you're buying a DraftKings one, it's pointing to it, but they have the right to change it. For whatever reason, they could change it technically. And that's when you get a personal use license. If it was a different one where you have complete copyright, then it's a different thing. So that's something you also can go down further down the rabbit hole if you'd like to learn more, which I strongly recommend everybody to learn about this emerging technology, because it's not going to go away. And I personally like it better. See, I've been playing regular traditional fantasy football for many, many years, over 20 years, and I enjoy it. I really like it, but I do also like the fact that I could hold on to those cards, those players, and trade them. And it seems like more options, and we'll see if in the future it actually takes over traditional fantasy football versus NFT football. And then they also have their regular just fantasy football on DraftKings, and they have different options as well. I've never played it, but my friend, he tells me he plays a 50-50, which is whatever money you decide you want to bet, you throw it in. Let's say it's $50, and then you have to be in the top 50 players within that contest in points. And if you are within the top 50, you win whatever money you bet. If you're under the top 50, then you lose it. So there's a bunch of different types of options as well. But really, to know what you're getting into, be sure to read the terms and conditions on whatever website. And if some of them don't have it, that's even a bigger red flag, especially now with all these emerging companies claiming to have affiliations with NBA or NFL. Just buyer beware and make sure you do your own research. So now I wanted to talk a little bit before I open up my packs about gambling and betting and how it's emerging so much in the United States. I live in California, and right now it's up to vote. I keep seeing the commercials of parents saying, oh, it's bad enough my kids are on the phone all day, and now I have to worry about them becoming an addict for gambling. And I would say it's really twisted over here. And I live not too far from Santa Anita Racetrack, which has been legal there. And there's Los Alamitos Racetrack. And I have friends that work at both tracks. And that's gambling. That's gambling from when I worked at the casinos. They separate the horse betting and the sports betting. That's gambling for sure, but it's legal here. And you're telling me that I can't bet on football or I can't bet on baseball. It's just always a bunch of regulations and just a bunch of BS, in my opinion. I think grown adults should be able to do whatever they want. Going to give you the breakdown here of what I got here. More than 30 states now allow gambling. And in 2021, online gaming revenues generated, it says 4% in the US versus, and according to the article, which I'll link on the show notes, it's not an article, it's a YouTube report, came out on December 3rd, 2021 by, I think, CNBC. And they were saying that in the UK, they have a more mature audience. But from all the people that I've heard talk about betting in United States and betting in the UK websites is that they give you better odds, different prop bets. If you don't know what a prop bet is, it's just, for example, like who's going to score first? Who's going to score the first touchdown? Will this player throw over 100 yards? Will it be a touchdown or a field goal? In person, when you go to Vegas, you can, in certain casinos, not all of them, you can make those type of bets. Some give you more variety than others. So I personally don't think that it's that the UK is a more mature audience. I just think that they have better betting options. When you have better betting options, you have more things to bet on versus I'd rather go in person and try and get better odds than doing it online because it's just a ripoff. Prior even to FanDuel and DraftKings getting the ability to do online, people would still do it, but it'd be offshore betting. I remember I wanted to do it, then I found out it's an offshore account, and then I would listen to sports talk radio, and they had get the winning pick by calling this number. So I called, and some guy called me back, and he gave me the winning pick. And then after that, he just kept calling me all the time, leaving messages. He wanted me to invest in him and believe that he knew what he was doing, and he wanted me to bet, but I couldn't bet what I wanted. I'd have to listen to him and only him. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. It's my money. But he's like, that way I can guarantee that you'll win. And I never ended up doing it. And finding out that would be illegal later on. So people have been betting forever, since the beginning. The earliest one I found was back in the, I think, 15 something, where people were betting on lotteries, and the lotteries would be the way they would do pavements and things to make the city better, which is pretty funny. And then in the late 1660s, horse racing started in New York. In 1919, they allowed greyhound racing in California. And then in 1941, El Rancho, which was the first gambling in Vegas resort, opened up. New York was the first state to have, I'm sorry, New Jersey was the first state to have online gambling. And it says that in total, and this is just in the United States, there's $7 billion annually that it costs the country for gambling, people who are addicts, basically between job losses, healthcare, bankruptcies, courts. That's how much they say it costs us. So if you do have a gambling problem, get some help. I would say learning, I've mentioned this on my other show, but if you don't watch my football show on Fireside, then when I worked at the casino, they told us, if you want to win, don't bet. Because Vegas didn't get built by people winning. They got it by people losing. Then I was watching the Pat McAfee show, and he was, as a player, he was saying, since you're always told, don't gamble, don't gamble. So it's almost like you're afraid to. Now that he's no longer a player, he started betting. He's like, I find it just so surprising how they know everything, how they know like someone's going to get hurt or not. It's pretty amazing. I remember they showed us how they would do the sports betting, and this is before the computers were as high tech as they are now. But it would just be like, I don't know, maybe like 4 people in a room, and they would just be watching all the TVs of all the sports at the same time. And then from there, they would have computers, but those computers would be sent the information if they wanted to lower a spread to the registers in the casino. Because I worked for Leroy's, which was basically anytime a casino didn't want to take a loss, but they still wanted to be able to offer gambling to their customers, that would bring in this third party gaming, basically, so that if they ended up taking a loss, it wouldn't really be the casino, it would be that company. So I worked for them, and it would relate the messages to everybody to either lower the spreads or higher them or over under, whatever needed to be done to make adjustments so that the house wouldn't lose most of the money. In 19, I believe 92, they were always they always use this, in my opinion. We need to protect the integrity of the game and protect the players. So they passed some law where most states where it just was no gambling allowed. But now in 2018, the Supreme Court said that it's per state. So since they passed it, it's per state now. 30 states have legalized gambling, and it varies because there's in-person gambling, then there's online gambling, and I think it's sports betting gambling. I think they consider it a different one. The three largest states, as far as like where it's going to be all population and the majority of people, will be California. So we're going to be voting on that. Texas is another one, and they're in the process. And Florida is a third one. And on May 19th, 2021, the Florida legislature approved a tribal state gaming compact with the Seminole tribe of Florida. So basically, they're in the process now of setting up the gaming. Over here too, we have casinos by the Indian tribes too as well. But what I remember is there was no sports betting. So I would say, as far as like that whole law, if it does pass, I hope they allow the Indian tribe casinos. That way they don't lose out on business if they're going to just open up gambling, because we have like the bicycle casino and the commerce casino where you can go and just bet cards, and all these loopholes and regulations and red tape where it's like, okay, that's betting, that's gambling. So you can go bet on cards and Texas Hold'em, but I can't bet on an NBA game because I would be a degenerate gambler or addiction. There's always some sort of agenda or lobbyist, in my opinion. But regardless of all that, just for the love of football, I ended up getting and signing up for the Draftkings. When you first sign up for the Draftkings Rainmakers, you're going to get a free pack. The free pack comes with enough to basically play, which I didn't know at the time. And my best player on the free pack is Daniel Jones. So even if I would have played, I don't really think I would have won. So what I ended up doing was I bought the booster pack, which was $9.99, and then I bought the superstar pack, which is I believe that one was $19.99. And that's pretty much all I'm planning to spend for fantasy football. It's just really more of an experiment to try to see how it is. It's not because I have a gambling addict, and I just really want to try it. I look back into the history and I remember this. FanDuel and DraftKings were kind of both accused of some sort of insider trading maybe about 6 years ago, where all the employees were somehow allowed to bet and they were beating a lot of people. So now they self-regulated themselves before Congress steps into it and just messes everything up. But supposedly they self-regulated themselves, and that is no longer an issue. If you YouTube DraftKings and are they cheating, there's all these different little conspiracies. Not quite sure. Regardless, it's getting really, really big. ESPN has invested in Caesars Entertainment. Comcast invested in FanDuel, and I think it's NBC invested in DraftKings. I don't see them going away. I see this just growing bigger and bigger and bigger. Of course, the pandemic helped the whole surge of online. They probably had the biggest profits back then. And for them, they're more happy, at least because now it's like a new revenue for them to make more money. And they don't have to worry as much about the offshore casinos. My only problem is I know, and on the video, they talk about that they use a set of operators with algorithmic to check to see if there's any sort of cheating going on. Basically, they're looking for cheating, irregular bets. And I'm sure that besides looking for cheating, they're using some sort of algorithm to, I don't know, maybe get the edge to make sure that the house wins all the time. So I wonder how legal and ethical that is as well. If you don't know what an algorithm is, you hear it all the time. Make sure to subscribe and follow because the algorithm might be against us, or algorithm this or algorithm that. There's, in basic terms, it's a set of instructions, and it was actually created by a Persian who was a mathematical genius named Mohammed, and I can't pronounce his last name, but I'll let you go down deep into that rabbit hole yourself. I recommend learning just more about everything as I mentioned. So be sure to look into that. What is an algorithm, and who was it created by, and how they're using it? Because there's billions of algorithms going on at the moment. I was like, well, my team pretty much sucks with Daniel Jones being my main guy, even though I think the last game he was, I think, rushed or hurried like 11 times, sacked maybe like 5 times, and I think he threw an interception. But I thought he played pretty good overall, considering how much pressure he was under. He threw the ball away a couple times. So I don't think he played that bad, but I also don't think I'll be able to win much with him. So then, as I mentioned, I bought the Rainmakers. It's the Superstar Pack Volume 1 Core. And I'm going to go ahead and open that one up and share with you what I got. So let's take a look. And open pack. And I'll go ahead and just show you this really quick. I'm doing it on my iPad. And let's do the open pack. And little sound effect. See if the microphone picks it up. And who did I get? It's still doing it. It's a core. Quick reveal. I got a Patrick Mahomes. Nice. That's way, way better than a Daniel Jones. So I'm happy with that one. Patrick Mahomes, 2022 Superstar Set Core. All right. So now that I know what I got with that one, let's take a look at the other card. Yeah, that's a major upgrade. I think I could win some games with him as my quarterback. I've had him in my regular fantasy in years past. Let's see, how do I get back to that? Still trying to, okay, Rainmakers, and then my cards, and then from there you go to my packs. So so for $9.99 you only get one card, but it's guaranteed to be, I think, go back to it. I think it's guaranteed to be like a good player out of 17, you're guaranteed to get one good player. It's kind of just to help you get going. It says the player card NFT is in the 2022 Superstar set for Rainmakers Football. One Superstar player card NFT can be drafted per lineup. To learn more about Rainmakers Football, visit, and it just gives you their link. So I got, all right, let me go back. So I'm happy with that one. Now this one, the next one, which is the Superstar, the Booster Pack Volume 1 2022. As I mentioned, that one's $19.99 if you want to get it. And then that one actually comes with more. So this one, the Rainmaker Football 2022 Booster Pack Volume 1 includes player card NFT from the booster set. Each pack contains 3 player card NFTs. Booster pack supplies will be replenished once sold out. So basically, will replenish it. And it says pack guarantees at least 2 core cards per pack. And then you have a 0.5% chance of getting a rare. So they do, let's see, 5 levels once you buy your NFT cards, and if you want to join a contest, it's free. You're just paying for your card. And really you could start playing with a starter pack, but you'll be able to do less contests. I think you should at least probably buy one if you really want to get a real feel for it. And then they go into levels. So if you only have core players, that's like the lowest tier. Then their second tier is rare. And then after rare, they have elite, then they have legendary, and then Rainmaker. If you go and check out any of the Rainmakers, that's where you're looking at $100,000 cards and packs for like, it gets pretty ridiculous. And that's where I understand if you're going to do the KYC. But for me, buying $30 worth of cards, it just, I can go to Vegas and bet $30 in person, and they're not. Now, when I worked at Vegas, if anyone, and that this is typical in pretty much any industry, once you bet $10,000 or spend $10,000 or write a check for $10,000, the IRS, they want to know where you got that from. So if anybody would come and let's say bet $5,000 and then later on that night they would bet another $5,000, or I saw basically them total $10,000 or more, I would have to write down what they were wearing. And that was pretty much it. That's what I would have to write down, what they were wearing. Because in Vegas, they would use basically what's called a runner. So if someone wants to place a bet, they don't want to get recognized, so they hire people and they pay them to go place their bets. And it could be like a difference between going from one casino to the other, because one casino will give you half a point less, or the over under a little bit different, and then you check per casino and then the runner goes, and that way they can get the best odds and still be able to make all their bets, but they wouldn't be able to do it by themselves, because they'll always be adjusting, even if they'll always be adjusting the point spreads, basically so that the house won't lose that much. If even if Vegas thinks that a team or a fighter is going to lose, and just because everyone's pouring the other way, they'll tease the point spread the other way so that people will start betting for the other person or other fighter or other team. So if something were to happen, it doesn't cost them basically everything, and then they don't have to go get a third party casino company to run their gaming operation. So let's go ahead and open the 2022 Booster Pack Volume 1. Open pack. Now, another thing you could do is just buy the pack and then not open it and then resell it that way. That's also what people do. They also have a marketplace where if you want, you could trade, sell the cards you don't want and buy the ones you want as well. Now, I was about to do that because I really wasn't quite sure and I wanted to pick my team. But then as I started looking into it, there's a lot more that goes into it. There's actually a website. And by the way, nobody has sponsored this show, so everything I'm telling you is just my opinion. So there's no sponsorship by Draftkings or no discount code to offer you. And Evaluate.market did not pay me either. But that is a website where you can go and you can kind of see what cards have been selling for, and it's a good way to kind of know if you're getting a good deal. This one is the Evaluate Market. Now, I think DraftKings and Top Shots do a pretty good job on their site of actually showing you what has sold and what recently has sold, but that's like an extra tool. And that's why I'm saying, me with my knowledge of working in a casino and playing fantasy football, this still wasn't like the easiest thing to do, but I would say it's also not that complicated as well. So let's go ahead and open this pack. Let's see what kind of sound effects we get here. So open pack, it says. I hit open. And for those of you just listening in, basically it does like a cool little effect. And now I ended up getting 3 core cards. I was hoping to get a rare, but let's see what the core cards got me. So the first one got me Bryson Hopkins and Carolina tight end. So there you go. So hopefully you guys can see that. Now I'm going to do the top left one last. So let's do the bottom one. And maybe you guys will see before me. Oh, no, okay. I'm a fan, but he got hurt. I actually have him on my fantasy team. Elijah Mitchell, running back for the 49ers. Unless he could come back strong and from his injury, then to me that card would be valuable. But for now, I don't know. That's a tough one. All right, let's take a look at the last card that I got here. All right, so I got Robert Woods. All right, Tennessee wide receiver. And there you go. So those are the three cards that I got. I would say that, it's interesting. I I gotta look at their stats more, but I would say the Mahomes is probably the best player that I have so far. And now that I have these players, I can go and actually join a contest. So, like I said, I think I could have done it last week, but even with Daniel Jones, I don't think I would have won. But now, let's say you get a bunch of rare, or you have more than one rare player, or a bunch of superstars. You can't cheat. It's not You're not supposed to be able to cheat. You're only supposed to be able to start one of them, and I think the rest core. It'll vary based on the contest you join. That's something that I still don't have that much experience in, but I will be playing my first NFT game this weekend with the picks that I did. I know that there was a game yesterday, and that one's already gone, but you can still join. Like, let's say you don't do Thursday, there's still plenty of contests you can do just for Sunday. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and then coming back next week and letting you know how was it, how difficult was it, how long did it take me to actually set up my team and find the right contest. Because when you do click contest, there is a lot. Actually, let me see if I could find it real quick and just give you an idea. Let's see. So you go to my contest, and this is once you're logged in. So let's see. Look at this page. And if you guys are not listening, it is quite the amount of contests. Now, I may not qualify for all of them, but probably easily 100 contests. And it gives you like it gives you the C is for core, and then the green is for rare, and then the E is for elite. So it makes it easier for you. On some of them, like, you can't join unless you have at least one rare. And if you don't get it in a pack, then you can go to the marketplace and buy one. That way you can select one. I really can't buy anything without doing some research. So if you just want to go and buy your, okay, so let me go backwards a little bit. When I worked in Vegas, most people who bet made uneducated bets. They just bet on their favorite team. So usually that's betting with your heart. That's not really trying to win. But I understand people are just trying to have fun. Typically, unless I've also seen the degenerate gamblers who just want action, and they'll take their last $5 every day to go just bet. Now, I see nothing wrong with, taking $20, placing some good parlays, like messing around yesterday. I think if I did a 16 parlay, I got it where I could win like 1,300. And you just play around with the different combinations, the money line, to see what you could get. You're not losing the house. And to me, it's a lot more than, especially going to the casinos now where they have like 5 or 6 stacks and blackjack. I don't trust those shuffling machines. That you could easily lose $50, $100 in 5 minutes. And if you go and you spend $50 or $100 on, let's say, NFL Sunday, you could parlay so it'll be all day, and then you have action all day, and then your football is just more entertaining because there's a chance to win. But there is a lot of contests here, and I want to see which one would be the best one for me to enter. And then as I do, I'll come back and let you know how it goes. And if anyone has questions or is actually playing the NFT football, you can let me know. I'm also going to be looking more into Top Shots. I'll be looking to buy my first pack as well, even though I'm really against the whole KYC for $10. For me to buy a $10 pack, to me, I think it's ridiculous. And that's why some of these all these like nonsense that I see going around with the whole, you can have casinos but you can't bet baseball, you can have horse racing but you can't bet football, you can do in-person betting in Vegas but you can't do it. It's like, come on, adults are adults. It varies through state. Or you could drink till 2 a.m., you could drink till 4 a.m., you could drink all night, you could drink on the sidewalk. And no matter what, in general, people are good people. Most people stop at a stop sign when no one's there. So I always think it's funny, like, oh, I can go to Vegas and drink and walk with a drink in my hand, but I can't do it in LA. And some of these rules are just really ridiculous to me. And that's why I got more and more into the whole Web3 NFT. a really sports guy, but I see the possibilities of the systems regulating, following instructions themselves, and we can eliminate all these people that want to just know your business but won't actually give the people, like, they want to know our business, right? They want to know if you make a $10 purchase for a Top Shot, but they can lose $2.3 trillion and there's nothing that we can know or find out, or actually find out where that money went to. That's back, since September 11th, and nothing has been done. What they do when they lose that money, they call it, they have a word for it. What do they call it? I wrote it down. Let's see if I can find it. Uh, they, nope, I can't find it. But basically, it's like something like untraceable lost assets. And I'm like, there's no other, if you guys can't find $2.3 trillion, then maybe we should try a different system, because they're there to serve us, the public, not for them to serve their own needs. And that's why the more I find out about how the whole real NFTs and websites should work. Now, there's a lot of scams out there, and that's why even I saw a whole video on So Rare where they're like, what if that company just goes bankrupt and you spend money on their cards? So that's why you also, although they've been around since 2018, that's something where you got to be aware, look into the company, look to see if they are in debt. If you just like the player and you just want to buy the card, go for it. But that's why I chose DraftKings. They've been around a lot longer. And since I mentioned the investments of the major companies going into FanDuel, DraftKings, and Caesars Entertainment, I'd rather buy an NFT card from them than from anybody else, because to me, they're going to be around. Also, going straight to the NBA or NFL, because they're going to be around. And if you buy through anybody else, as I mentioned, you have a personal use license for it. So you don't have a commercial license for it. And so you want to be able to at least take advantage of their marketplace if you don't want the cards, and try to sell them. Because so far right now, let's see if I could show you all my cards. I'm definitely not going to keep all my cards, but let's see. Here we go. These are the cards that I got. And this includes the 6-pack that they gave you. Now, the first pack that they give you for free, you cannot sell those cards. You cannot put them up for sale or anything like that. They're just your basic team to get started. And my best 2 players, before I got these cards, was Daniel Jones and a kicker. I'm trying to remember who the kicker was, if I could find him. But now, it was Nick Folk. That's who I got. So those were my 2 best players. Now I have a better team, although I have a injured reserve running back that I got on the core pack. And now you also, as you buy more cards, one thing that I saw, and I don't know, DraftKings is a little different because you're using them to play the game, to play fantasy football. But the other ones like Top Shot, and I'll probably do a whole different show just on Top Shot because they're like a whole different animal. But on them, they have a pretty cool thing where, all right, you buy certain moments or you buy a pack. Now you have duplicates. Like when you used to buy baseball cards or just a pack, sometimes you get duplicates of the card. What are you going to do with that duplicate? Well, they'll trade it in for a ticket. And depending on drops, and when I say drops, they're going to be releasing cards or unopened packs. And you can trade in that ticket, or sometimes you need 3 tickets. And once you get those 3 tickets, for every moment you trade in, then you get a ticket. And say you need 3 tickets, then you'll be one of the first to get access to the new drop. And then what that does is they take that moment that you gave it to them and they don't put it back in the pool. So it kind of makes your other moment more rare, which will hopefully bring up the value, because now there's less in circulation, and now you're going to get a chance to buy like different types of packs. And as I mentioned, these packs vary. Let's see if I could tell you how much they vary really quickly. Let's see. Go to shopping. All right. So let's see how much the packs are going for right now. I'm going to do let's start off with a high edition, because as I said, Okay, so it's called Field Pass Promo Pack, and that goes for $4,500. And let's see what you get with that. Which I, I even if I was balling, I can't see myself spending 4,500 on a card or on a pack. So with this, you get a tier player. So what? You only get one. Oh, you get one legendary and one tier card. So you get two cards basically for that price. Yeah, that's a bit much. Then some people buy those packs, don't open them, and you can go to the marketplace. And the marketplace is also like right on the same page. So right here, once you click on the pack, you can see that if you scroll down, there's right here's the marketplace, and it's telling you how much people are selling them for. So you click there and you could either buy the packs, or if you have a pack, you could sell it as well. Then the second highest pack goes for, come on, $2,300, and then $2,222, $1,199. It keeps going down, and they range in prices from $829. Let's see what the lowest pack. So you can only get one pack of the core at $9.99 because you're starting out. After that, you cannot get more for that price. So now, if I wanted to buy the booster pack, the same pack that I just bought for $19.99, and I got 3 cards for that, it would be now $22.16 for, I guess, the second time I buy it. Then the second tier is $30, and then $50, 66. And the names keep changing to Elevated Core, and then they have a rookie debut, so you're guaranteed to get the rookies. And then they have exclusive ones too, which I like that too. They have like V Friends, which is Gary V. I've seen all kinds, like the Gronk. The Gronk has his own series. Tom Brady has his own series. So then you can buy cards just specifically on those. And as I mentioned, you have 2 options for that. You can go to NFL All Day, which is the NFL moments. They're NFTs by the NFL. I'm not quite sure if you could use them for Rainmakers on DraftKings. Then you have the Rainmaker NFTs by DraftKings, and those are used to play fantasy football. And I don't believe you can actually trade them. You can't trade them outside of the ecosystem of DraftKings. It's like not like I could trade it to my wallet for NFL All Day or my Top Shot. It's not like a MetaMask wallet or a coin wallet. It all stays within there. Also, the website has options to do 2-factor authentication, which means they'll send you a text message every time you do that. I highly recommend setting up as much security as you can. Even me setting up my profile, I wrote a wrong letter on my email address, so I had to send them an email to get that corrected. But yeah, just be very careful when you're filling out the form. As I mentioned, DraftKings and Top Shots will ask you for your ID as part of KYC. So I'm happy with the Patrick Mahomes. The 1999 pack, no one really that jumps out, except I'm a 49er fan, so I'm glad I got Mitchell. I'm happy about that, but he's injured. I don't know any value that I'll get for that card, and if I hold on to it, and he seems to be a little bit injury prone, it's going back to like original baseball football cards. Is it worth it to hold on to them? Will only 49er fans want them? What if he never really plays again? That's something that you could decide. Or if you're just a fan, you hold on to the card. But even then, if you're a fan, do you really want a player who didn't really play that much? I mean, when he played, he made an impact, but if he only plays a couple seasons, that's going to come down to a personal decision, everybody, for as far as how much of a fan you are. So far, it's interesting. It's way different than traditional fantasy football. I'm really way more comfortable with fantasy football, but even then, on just traditional fantasy football, there's so many different rules and ways you could play keeper leagues, and you could do the whole where you're paying per player. You can use Yahoo Sports, you could use CBS Sportline, you could use ESPN. And then I've played more than one fantasy football league at a time, which to me it's really difficult in my opinion. It's too hard to be focusing on more than one team, more than one player. At the same time, I started playing fantasy basketball, and then that made it even more complicated because in football you only have to change your lineup once a week, and in basketball you have to change your lineup way more often. So I played fantasy basketball maybe like 3 seasons. That was different. Now I'm looking to the top shots. If they do have top shots, I will definitely do another show because I know the NBA is coming up and people will be interested on that. I did find another website. I won't even mention them because I'm just not too sure about them, but they're already playing fantasy basketball and I'm not even quite sure how because the league hasn't started unless they're going to do preseason, but I wouldn't even want to do that. Hope everybody enjoyed. Play NFT Fantasy Football. Today I did a live opening of 2 packs that I bought on Draftkings, and I will be looking for a contest that I qualify now to see if I win. And when I come back next week to let you know how it goes, see how complicated it was, if I won anything, and if anyone plays or has any questions, you're more than happy to come up and ask some questions. As for now, this is just a learning experience. And just because they're having a contest where they're going to, I think I missed it, but they're having a contest where they're going to have the Rainmaker Championships and it's going to be live, but it's already closed for do that. But that's something that I would like to do. And just because it's still early enough where maybe because it just kind of started and some of the cards, you never know what type of value they could get in the future. It's usually the first ones. Once again, this is not financial advice or any law advice based on the licenses I mentioned earlier, but this is all something that you could look into. All the rules are on the website and they were just okay. I actually found a better instruction by DraftKings on YouTube where they kind of explain it and break it down more. If you want to get started, you just sign up, you identify yourself. Once you're verified, you can get 1 free pack to get started. You open up that pack, you'll have at least to go enter a contest, but you probably won't. If you get lucky, you'll get a really good player, I guess. But if not, then your next option will be to buy your first pack for $9.99, and you're guaranteed to get a star player. I got a Patrick Mahomes on that one today. And then after that, you can buy another pack for $19.99. And that one, you're guaranteed 3 players. And there's a 0.5% chance that you'll get a rare card. They have 5 tiers. Core is the lowest tier. So all my cards right now are core. I have no rare cards. And then on some contests, you need at least 1 rare to join it. And then it goes up from there. As I'm not going to be buying $4,000 packs, so I will probably never get into those leagues that are so expensive. But they say you have chances to win. They never really say cash; they just say prizes. But I know you have chances to win other cards, so maybe that's a good way to be able to get better cards and improve your team. So looking forward to NFL football this Sunday even more. I will be back later today. I'm going to be doing athletic definition, sports and fitness news. I talk a little bit about football on there, not too much because I will have another show only on Fireside called The Football Examiner where I do my football picks. But I am going to be talking a little bit about the game yesterday, Tua and him going down and the concussion, and as well as so many other things in the fitness news. Be talking about Bo Nichols, the LeBron James of UFC, supposedly, the Army's new fitness test. If you guys ever heard of Norway's death diving. It's supposed to be like the craziest diving in the world. And Floyd Mayweather says he's not the same. He doesn't want to fight real fighters anymore. So we'll be talking a little bit of boxing. Be talking about Shaquille O'Neal wanting to buy the Phoenix Suns and so much more. I'm going to give the secret weapon how I think, man, I forgot his name, but he's a marathoner who just broke his own record in Berlin. He shaved his marathon time by 30 seconds, and I want to let you know how I think he did it. I think it took him like 4 years to beat that time, but he broke his own record basically. Plenty much more to come. And I'm working on another show. If I have enough time, I'll do it as well today. So if you want to be notified when that is, be sure to follow me here on Fireside. That way you can get an alert. My name is Coach Ray Z. This is Athletic Definition, episode 147, How to Play NFT Fantasy Football. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you later today. I appreciate everybody in the audience and watching the stream. I'm out.